We kick off hour 2 of our radio program on a busy Tuesday afternoon as we chat. All right, we were going through the coaches a minute ago, and the Patriots are going to lose both their coordinators, and still there's no disruption. That's another thing about New England. I mean, here it is. Priscilla's going to go to Detroit. A lot of people thought he'd go to the Giants. That didn't work out for whatever the reason. He's got a good relationship with Bob Quinn, who's the new GM there in Detroit, and they worked together for about a decade in New England, so it sounds like he's going there. I think the Giants had him in their top 3. A lot of people thought he was the leading candidate, but instead, Priscilla doesn't. It sounds like the Giants' order was Priscilla, Shurmur, and McDaniels. That's what it sounds like. Patricia, Shurmur, and McDaniels. That's what it sounds like. And Patricia decided to take the Lion job, and then they're going to lose McDaniels. Now we don't know where. It seems like Indianapolis. You got to put Tennessee into the equation a little bit because of the fact the GM there is also from New England, and he probably knows McDaniels. So John Robinson. So you have to put him in there. You got to at least discuss the possibility. And Tennessee's, it's a pretty good job. No pressure. The media is not going to drive you crazy. And I think a lot of the Patriot people look at it from that standpoint. They do not like the media in New England. They are not media friendly. They grew up with Belichick, who's got no interest in helping the media, which is his right. And same with Brady. He could care less. They don't like the media there, and it's a big market. So I would think, and Indianapolis is a bigger market than Nashville. So and remember, he got Irsay in Nashville, and that would worry you a little bit in Indianapolis because he's quirky. That would concern you. So I wouldn't completely rule out Tennessee. Who knows? I mean, maybe he's already signed a deal with the Colts, McDaniels. He's got Luck sitting there, and Luck's better than Mariota, so we'll have to wait and see. Everybody seems to think that was, maybe why Malarkey was in a little trouble, but, I mean, maybe McDaniels is already signed, sealed, and delivered. But the fact that Patriots have both coordinators about to leave, and they don't miss a beat, is really, and it's an amazing deal. I mean, how many teams are about to lose both coordinators and still in the playoffs and not have no carryover, no residue effect on the process of getting ready for a big game? I mean, that's amazing. And they got the offensive coordinator leaving, the defensive coordinator leaving, and miss a beat. You figure maybe a little distraction, that maybe they got some other things on their mind. Not a way. I mean, it's almost they followed the procedure. Now listen, Shurmur was leaving too, and they turned around and they knocked out the Saints. Now they almost lost, but they knocked out the Saints. I mean, the Patriots were very methodical in beating Tennessee. Tennessee's not as good as New Orleans, so it's a much easier opponent. But they're losing 2 coordinators and they didn't miss a beat. And obviously the Vikings only losing 1 coordinator, but so they are going to lose both. Patricia, it sounds like, to Detroit. Giants get Shurmur. Mike Holmgren was quoted in the New York papers today, and he was hard on Shurmur because remember, Holmgren was the president of the Browns, and he hired Shurmur to be his head coach. He was 9-23 in 2 years in Cleveland, which, right now looks like it's Hall of Fame based on the fact the Browns have been pathetic ever since. But Holmgren was quoted today in the New York papers, and he was hard on Shurmur. Too stiff, doesn't know how to have as much fun as you'd like, never came to me for advice. I mean, I was a little strange. He kind of pounded Shurmur a little bit, which I was very surprised about. And the Giants did not call Holmgren for an opinion on Shurmur, and you would think that they may have done that considering the fact that Holmgren hired Shurmur to coach the Browns. And the Giants want to hire Pat Shurmur to coach the Giants and didn't reach out to ask Mike what he thought for whatever the reason. But it sounds like Shurmur is going to come to New York. New York is a media-savage town, media-hungry town. And, if he doesn't want to deal with the media on a day-in, day-out basis, that's going to be a little tricky. McAdoo had that same problem, and that's okay if you go 13-3. And then the fan base can put up with it. But if you stink and you act aloof, then you get in trouble. And then the fan turns on you, and then come hella high water, they're going to get you out of there. And that's what happened with McAdoo. McAdoo got fired because the fans got him out. They couldn't stand him. And then, of course, Mara put him in a tough spot with the whole Eli thing. And Eli put him in a tough spot, too, being a little baby. I think being a little bit of a baby about it. Well, if I don't play the whole game, I'm not playing at all. in the Oakland game. So, but that's a tricky spot to put a guy in New York who, he's got head coaching experience, and obviously he's done a great job with Keenum, so he deserves all the credit in the world. He deserves a second chance because the Browns, anybody who works for the Browns deserves another opportunity. So he's going to get it, but Holmgren did get on him, which was interesting. So that's number two. I think the surprise here to me is Nagy getting a job with the Bears. And it's funny, a lot of the Andy Reid guys get jobs. I mean, Nagy's Andy Reid, Shurmur's Andy Reid. A lot of these Andy Reid guys get, do they see Andy in the postseason? But his disciples get jobs. Nagy, I guess the Bears and Ryan Pace did not see second half against Tennessee. They can claim all they want about how, he did a great job at his Bear press conference. Nagy did, the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs, who did nothing in the second half against the Titans. I guess Nagy was very upfront and did a nice job with his press conference, explaining what happened in half number two. I'll learn from it. I made a mistake. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. And I was pretty open and nice job there. But, boy, I tell you, I never thought I was looking at a guy who should be a great head coach, the offensive coordinator for Andy Reid. That's... that job puzzled me. I got to be honest. You can't argue Gruden. I think Gruden was probably working on his coaching staff during that Tennessee Kansas City game when he was doing a ball game. I think he was texting coaches because he was really disinterested and on guard in that game. I think when Sean threw to him, he was tracking down Rich Gannon. Rich, I got a play here. Rich, what a coach. Oh, here we go. Now let me explain this play first. So I think that, but nobody's going to argue with Gruden. He gets the 10-year, $100 million contract. The Raiders have been very good with hiring African-American GMs and coaches. Art Shell, Reggie McKenzie. So what's his name? Not McKenzie. What's his name? The GM? We'll look that up. So you can't. I think it is Reggie McKenzie. You can't make an argument there. The Raiders have been very good there. If Mark Davis wants to right or wrong and bring in Gruden because his father and Gruden had a falling out, he's allowed to do that. So I have no problem with that hire. I think Gruden will do a good job. I think Gruden's overrated. You would think that Gruden is coming out of the Hall of Fame to coach the Raiders. Gruden was 45-51 his last 6 years in Tampa, and he won a championship with Dungy's team. So, but I think he's a little overrated myself. But he's a good coach. He deserves the, if he wants to coach, somebody's going to hire him. I think he's had he won a Super Bowl, so he's young enough and he's been successful. But I do think he's a little overrated for $10 million a year. So, but nobody can argue with Oakland going in that direction. So that leaves Arizona that hasn't hired a coach yet. You still got this Tennessee scenario now that opened up with Mularkey out of there. So we'll see what occurs with these two openings. But I'm surprised at Nagy. Here's what I'm surprised about. I'm very surprised that Nagy was such in hot demand. Indianapolis wanted him and the Bears wanted him. What did Matt Nagy do with Kansas City that made him a hot deal? What? I never heard of him until about 2 weeks ago. What did Matt? What? Because he runs nice schemes. It seems they lost 6-7. They did nothing in the second half, and all of a sudden, Matt Nagy is, he's Bill Walsh to Paul Brown. I guess Bill worked for Paul. That surprised me. That's number one. I am surprised that Mularkey got fired. He did win a playoff game. That's number two. I am surprised that Patricia said no to the Giants and went to Detroit because I know Stafford's there and he's in the prime of his career and he's probably got a comfort level with the GM compared to working with Gettleson there in New York. But I'm still surprised. The Lions, I know that there's no pressure. Anything you do in Detroit's going to be a positive, but the Giants are a better organization than the Lions are. Top to bottom, the Giants are a better. Plus, they got the second pick in the draft, so I'm a little surprised he bypassed the Giants. Those are the three things. I'm not surprised Gruden came back to coach, especially the Raiders. I'm not surprised McDaniels is going to end up somewhere. Obviously, I can't be surprised there. You had to figure the Giants were going to get one of their top two guys. You figured Shurmur with Minnesota with a backup quarterback was going to get a job somewhere. Maybe if it wasn't for the Giants, Arizona was a possibility. There's about three things that have surprised me so far in the NFL scenario. And again, the Patriots, they lose two coordinators and they don't miss a beat. That's hard. 13 after the hour, we continue. Mad Dog on Lead.